Hello. I am still figuring this out. All right. And I am live. Woo. All right. So I am streaming for the first time. Bear with me as I probably will be silly and confused for most of this. But yeah, welcome, Amy Lee. It's nice to see you. And if there's anyone else there that I just can't see, welcome to you too. So yeah, here we are. I'm Laurel. And as you can see, I've got some kind of banged up. I went running this morning or yesterday morning, I guess now. And I tripped on the sidewalk and totally like kersplat right on the sidewalk and banged up my knees. You can kind of see I've got as much covered as I can with a Band-Aid, but mostly I couldn't cover it. So yeah, I'm all banged up. But I'm here and I'm gonna try and get some stuff done. I've got this billed as creativity sprints rather than productivity sprints because I tend to kind of, I don't know, rankle against anyone telling me that I have to be productive. So I'm trying to reframe this as a chance to give myself an opportunity to be a little more creative and do something maybe fun. I've got my sketchbook. I've got a couple notebooks to maybe do some world building or free writing or something like that. And if I run out of ideas for things to write, I've also got a book that I can read. But yeah. So I'm thinking, let's get into it. If you are working on something particular, if you've got a project you're working on, I'd love to hear about it. Or, hi, Charlotte. Or if you are just working on something new, if you're sketching or something like that, then let us know in the comments. Yeah, so I am going to share. Let's see if I can actually figure out the right screen to share. There we go. I'm going to share my timer screen and let's get a timer going. Let's start with maybe just like a 10-minute to kick things off and see how we're feeling. What do you say? Okay, Charlotte's going to be doing reading sprints and Amy Lee's going to be working on high fantasy. Nice, very cool. All right, so 10 minutes on the clock and let's get going. Hello, welcome back. Timer kind of caught me off guard. Thank you. So my avatar is actually my old dog who sadly has been gone for almost 2 years now, but I still love her, so I keep her around. If I ever get a tattoo, I think that I will probably get a tattoo of her. Creepy things that can happen in a scary hotel. Well, there's always like things happening without explanation or without anyone being there to make them happen. I think they're always good creepy things. There's also, the creepy children doing creepy things are maybe a little overdone, but they're a classic for a reason, I think. Maybe I'm just the only one creeped out by children, but I think creepy children in The Shining were like the scariest thing that I've ever seen. So yeah, how did everyone do? I decided, oh dear. Yes, YouTube can be very distracting. That's part of the reason that I'm doing this today, is to kind of keep myself accountable and try to ensure that I don't just spend all of my downtime on YouTube, because that usually is how I end up spending things like this. Yeah. So, yeah. It's so hard to, like, when you live in a different place and when you can't be there to take care of them. It's hard to be away from the kids, whether they're human kids or furry kids. Yeah. So my sprint, I decided I was going to try some sketching, and quickly realized that I'm a little too jittery from my coffee and was just like kind of scribbling. And I was trying to remember like proportions of the human body so I could draw a person. I ended up with one of those like itty bitty head, and then the shoulders are a little bigger, and then by the time I got to the legs, they were just, everything was out of control. So for the next sprint, I think that I may pull up a writing prompt and see if I can do just a little free writing, something like that. Because the sketching, I'll be honest, it did not go that well. I ended up giving up on my actual drawing and drawing a cartoon head, which I'm also not particularly happy with how that turned out. I'm fighting the urge to scribble it out. I don't like to scribble out things that I've drawn, but every once in a while it's like, I just don't want that in the world at all. Oh, yeah, I bet. It's so hard to be away from them. I can only imagine when you're like on an actual separate continent. You can't even drive to see them. Yeah. So, Amy, I'm always curious when you talk about like South Africa and New Zealand, if you're willing to share, I would be interested to hear more of the stories of why and how and which one you like, if you like one better, or if there's something that you have to see or should avoid in either one. I miss traveling. That is one thing about this whole pandemic mess. I really miss traveling. And I went to Japan last summer, and basically every day for the past week or so, I've seen like videos of people in Japan and eating delicious Japanese food, and it's making me so sad. Oh, my air conditioner just kicked on. I hope that you can still hear me over the air conditioner. That's good. That is a comforting thing to know. Would be very sad if you just had to give her up completely. So yeah, I think I'm going to look up, where did I put my phone? There's my phone. I'm going to look up a random writing prompt, and I think that's what I will do for my next sprint. And if anyone else feels so inclined, then you can join me. All right. Random writing prompts, here we come. The one I saw yesterday that got me thinking was you get to create a dream and give it to someone. And my story from that turned into this, like, there's this dream maker, dream weaver type person. Hi, Emily. Oh, I'm glad that you got to stop by and say hello. So I wrote this little mini story about like this dream maker giving someone a dream and telling the story of how the world was before people had dreams, and why the dream maker weaver people came about. Anyway, today's prompt will be nothing shocks me. I'm a scientist. Write a story that includes this line either at the beginning or the end or somewhere in between. So if you feel like it, you can join me in this writing prompt, or you can continue to do your own whatever you've been doing. I think let's up the timer by maybe 5 minutes. How do people feel about like a 15-minute sprint this time? If you want to request a different time, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, 15 minutes on the clock, and away we go. I forgot to actually share the screen that time, but that was the 15 minutes. Timer scared me. Sorry if I am looking goofy over here, nearly peeing my pants because of a timer. Anyway, so how did everybody do? I filled up most of a page with my chicken scratch writing here. I did not finish what I had in mind to write. But I wrote a little beginning of a scene where two scientists are in a lab and one wants to show the other something that he thinks or she thinks will be shocking. And that's about as far as I got. Spoiler alert, the thing turns out to be a time machine. Anyway, Rainstar. I think that it depends on what the situation is. If I met someone walking down the street who said their name was Rainstar, I might look funny at them. But in a fantasy or a sci-fi, potentially could work. Oh, good. Got a bit of editing done. Managed to listen to Faded by Alan Walker. I don't know that I know Alan Walker. I will assume that it's a good song. I'm pretty terrible about actually knowing music, considering I was a music teacher in a past life. I just am not very good about being up on any kind of like popular, anything that's popular. I just can't seem to keep up with. I think, I thought that someone mentioned the 5 minutes flash writing thing that Orla is doing, but now I'm not seeing it. But that the thing that I wrote just now, I might, if I can finish it and refine it a little bit, it might be what I use for the 5 minute flash. But I'm not sure. I've heard a lot about Wattpad, but I have not actually gotten on. I've never tried to share any of my own writing on there, but I've heard about it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you mentioned that you had shared some of your own writing on there before. Though I can't remember what it was called. I think I remember you telling Brandon about something that you wrote on Wattpad. Speaking of which, Baby Yoda said that he would be here, and I have not seen any mention from him. Though I think it is still pretty early in the UK. I can't remember if they're maybe 5 hours ahead of me. So that would put them at like before 8 in the morning. Yeah, story named Lily. Hey, that's all right. Reading is a very legitimate pastime, especially for writers. I'm wondering what you are reading. I remember you were reading fifth season, yeah, N.K. Jemisin. I don't know if you finished that and are on to something else, or if it's still the same. Yeah, I'm curious. All right, so I did some sketching. I did a little bit of writing. I think I kind of want to do another sprint so I can finish off this little flash fiction thing. I see. Very cool. I read Becca C. Smith's, her first Riser book, and I liked it. It was, I have not gotten around to like finishing anything else in the series, but I can definitely see going back and reading more after the first one. But I haven't read any of the books they wrote together. Oh my gosh. I've got like a, what do you call it? Like a leg cramp or a muscle cramp or something. Anyway, my calf muscle is just like, ish, all seized up and weird. Yeah, that's cool that you're doing beta for them. Yes. And yeah, I've heard really good things. I have big plans to read some N.K. Jemisin, but right now I am one broke bitch, so I'm not buying any books that are more than 99 cents. My current read is a library book that I got a couple days ago, but yeah, fifth season I've heard really good things about, and I have read Going Postal and absolutely loved it. Big Terry Pratchett fan, though I have not read as much as I would like to. If you hear complainy child noises, that would be Elliot, our naughty fluffy cat. Why, thank you. I see. Haven't they suffered enough? Yes, the cry of readers everywhere. Why do you keep doing this to them? It's just too much. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I could see getting Audible. For a long time, I was doing audiobooks just in my car, and I don't really have a good way of listening to Audible in my car, but I can listen to CDs well. So I was just picking up books on CD from the library, but I haven't driven basically anywhere in about a year. So audiobooks are not my current chosen way to read. Yes, kitty. So now both cats are fighting with each other, and both cats have gotten into the music room where they are not supposed to be. they've been kind of naughty all night. Mm, interesting. I feel like that's one I have heard of, but definitely never read. Maybe I will check it out one of these days. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot to be said as a writer. Like, you need to set things up so that the payoff at the end really feels worth it. But I find it really difficult to actually put my characters through all of the terrible things that I know they need to go through. And my latest, or my last work in progress that I fairly recently finished the first draft on, I know in the second draft I'm going to have to put in a lot of like build up explaining why the main character feels the way she does, and all of that build up is going to be basically like her peers bullying her and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make her feel sad. Um, but it must be done, or else at the end, you're not going to feel like they earned any happy ending that they get. So that's the trade off, I guess. All right. I'm thinking another 15-minute sprint. I'm going to try and finish up my flash fiction thing. This time I'll try and remember to actually share the screen. How's that sound? Oops, I'm looking at the wrong screen now. Share the screen, share the screen. There we go. All right, so we'll do 15 minutes again. And here we go. All right. We've survived another one. And that time the timer didn't scare me quite as much. I was in the middle of writing a sentence and now can't remember what I was going to write. So, how did you guys do? I wonder if you made some progress. Let's see. Charlotte was saying that. Aha. Changed my plot on my novel to make it less depressing to write. But I still get to torture my characters. I just don't feel as bad. At least they have some fun moments. Well, there's that. That's good. Another naughty cat is now trying to eat my cords. Yes. It's good to break up all of the tragedy when you're writing. And yes, agreement all around. Let's see. Do I feel confident enough to read? I think the answer is no. Maybe one of these days I will not be a chicken, but for today, I'm too scared. All right. Amy edited, and oh dear, another character met a gruesome, bloody end in the chapter I'm reading. Sad, sad, sad. Trying to think of what, there was one book I read that it was like every chapter was like, it can't get any worse than that. That's part of why I couldn't get super into Game of Thrones. Part of, when I was reading it, I already knew a lot of the people who would die, and it was just kind of like, meh, I'm not going to get attached to any of these characters. Sword of Truth, I think, is that what it's called? See, I don't even remember anymore. That series, and that author, who's kind of a dickhead anyway. But I tried reading that series a while ago, and it was just like every chapter there's just some new horrible thing happening, and at some point it's like, you know what? I'm just done. But you got to find the balance, and that one did not find it. So are you recording a podcast, Charlotte? And if so, what is your podcast about? Have you done the podcast before? I feel like I haven't heard you talk about podcasting, and now I'm curious. Yeah. I think we've got enough time. We can probably fit in 2 more solid sprints. I see. Yes. The mark of a good writer, if they can set it up and still make you care about it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I've managed to do that. I did, so I'm watching what's it called? It's one of the TV series that's based on a Stephen King, Castle Rock. I'm watching Castle Rock right now, and in maybe like 2 episodes ago, there was a character death that, like, in the first episode, I was like, yeah, I bet like $10 that this person is not going to make it. And then when, sure enough, they end up dying, it's like, well, okay. I knew it was coming, and yet I still allowed myself to get attached to their storyline. What is up with that? So it can be done well. Yep. Sometimes, like, you can just see they've got the marker on them from the beginning. You know from early on, like, oh, the main character cares about them. Death sentence. I don't watch a whole lot of ASMR, though I do. There's this one cooking channel. It's called Peaceful Cuisine, I think. It's just this guy who cooks these kind of incredible things from scratch, and he always does like a regular edited version of the video and an ASMR video. So I'll watch those sometimes. Fun Mad Libs and writing challenges for a podcast. I like this idea. Also have a podcast with my friend that is constantly being interrupted by COVID, so could be a while off. The story of 2020, everything got interrupted by COVID, aka everything was terrible. On the list of things that got interrupted by COVID in my life, I mean, well, I have been working from home for over a year now. And so, like, my job wasn't interrupted by COVID, but there's still a lot of little things, like Sean, the boyfriend, just finished his degree in music performance, and all of the things that we would have gotten to, or he would have gotten to do in the past year, like performances and things like that, of course, all got canceled. In case you weren't aware, rehearsing a musical ensemble over Zoom just does not work the same way. Travel that I would have liked to do did not happen. I better stop. I'm going to get all in my feelings, and that'll be no good. Yes, face masks as far as the eye can see, and often not a roll of toilet paper to be found. I'm still shocked at how poorly people behaved in that department. I remember at the beginning of March, it was like as everything was shutting down, we had this like spring break family trip thing. So we were traveling, and we went to a grocery store just to pick up like regular travel necessities, and the entire like medicine aisle was completely cleaned out. It's like, well, if you get COVID, you probably didn't actually need any of that medicine. And if you actually have one of those diseases that you need that medicine, then you're going to be SOL. I couldn't believe, like, what kind of person is hoarding things that they do not need and that they know someone else needs. Art channel called Berber Van Gorp. That is really nice. Art process videos. Nice. I love watching like draw with me videos, or I'm subscribed to so many art channels, just like studio vlogs. I love it. What's her name? Cheyenne. It starts with a B, and I'm definitely going to get it wrong. I want to say Cheyenne Barton or Cheyenne B something. Has this art channel that is just so peaceful and joyful, and she's always doing these studio vlogs, and she'll share her little illustrations. She does like illustrations, and then she'll do these little clay, like, I don't know, like pins or something, that she'll paint, and she does these like little cartoon cake slices that are always smiling and delightful. So I'm sad I can't remember her name, but you should check her out. When a day is really stressful, well, I've got my unhealthy coping mechanism, which is usually wine or whiskey, which I've been trying to get away from. But for healthier, maybe more productive responses, meditation I've found really does help. Free art, free writing, just like forget any kind of what you're supposed to be doing and just write a random story, I feel is one of the best therapies I've come up with. Or just like random doodling and random journaling, I really enjoy. I wonder how you say that. Liziki? Really relaxing vlog videos of this girl who lives somewhere in China, makes all this traditional food. Yeah, I am a big fan of watching people do like traditional crafts and making food from scratch, stuff like that. Yep, that works. Sometimes we just need to like trick our brains into thinking that we're happy or whatever emotion. Yes. Yes to all of those. I've been doing a daily either walk or run. And that's been helping me a lot. I've been aiming to walk or run 5K every day. Of course, you know, sometimes I trip and completely embarrass myself by like face planting on the sidewalk, but the exercise does help if I'm feeling stressed. And for caffeine, yes, I've found like I've still got my cup of coffee here. But if I don't finish it within the next probably hour or so, it's just going down the drain because I need to get to bed within the next 12 hours. And if I have any caffeine too late, then that's going to completely disrupt everything. Charlotte's full of really good ideas here. Yes. Where did it go? Yeah. Trying to identify what is causing the stress. Yes, wholeheartedly agree. And journaling can do that. I've had a few times in my life where I know that something is bothering me and I know that something is messing with me, but I can't figure out what it is. And journaling can help you get to the center of the issue. Yeah. I might have to check it out. Lazy key, or it's Chinese, then it's probably Li key, I would guess. Li chi. Yeah, so I've got this knee is definitely the worst one. It has a big old band-aid on it now. It's definitely bruised, but so far it doesn't feel like it's infected or anything like that. So thankfully, I think it should heal up just fine. This one is it's skinned enough, like it's not actively bleeding, but it is skinned enough that it kind of hurts when I move my thumb too much. So that's not so much fun, but I will survive. It'll all be okay. Yes. I don't think I've found any recently that I really enjoyed. But I occasionally will like rewatch the Bo Burnham Netflix special. I thought was pretty excellent. And who else? I rewatched some George Carlin earlier today, and that man was such a master. I'm still sad that he's gone. Yes, everyone must have at least one scented candle in order to be considered a writer. Amen. I had to delete Reddit from my phone because it was just like constant spiraling, like never ending doom spiral for me. Facebook and Instagram I have still on my phone, but I don't have them on my like main screen. And for some reason I don't get so sucked into them, mostly I think because I know, particularly with Facebook, I know the longer I scroll, the more likely I am to come across some truly horrific knowledge about friends. Like someone will post some political thing that I'm like, I never wanted to know that you were a person who believed that particular thing. So it's a little easier for me to just naturally unhook from Facebook and that stuff. But for me, Reddit is just like the fear of missing the key information that will save my life or whatever is overwhelming, and I just cannot stop scrolling through once I get on there. Yes, Charlotte will keep us all sane in these trying times. I actually never never really do candles. I don't know. I don't know why. It's not like I hate candles. I just forget that I have them. And now I'm singing the song. Yeah. Yeah, in my current job, I have a lot less stress than I had in my former job. So I guess just finding a less stressful career is part of it. Mm-hmm. We'll have to check them out. I don't know. I don't think I've heard of any of them, but I am like completely out of the loop pretty much all the time. Yeah, sometimes it's harder to keep in touch with people that you're used to like actually hanging out with, I think. Yeah. Yeah, as far as like um YouTube, once upon a time I actually allowed like YouTube push notifications and stuff like that. And that was years ago. But after being woken up one too many times to be notified that someone I followed had posted something new, I was like, you know what? This is not, in fact, information that I need on a daily basis. Yeah, I took an entire year off of Facebook and felt really good about it. And then the first day I got back, I was like, you know what? I've been away long enough. I'll just like check in and see what I've been missing. And the first thing I saw was a friend that I'm obviously not particularly like I don't talk to them very very often. The first thing I saw was this person talking about the death of her husband. And I'm like, holy crap, I've literally missed people dying by not being on Facebook. So I try to stay awake quite a bit, but I also try and check in every once in a while just to make sure people aren't dying without me knowing about it. um, Man, that's a morbid way of looking at it, but yeah, Instagram is dangerous for me because it's just so quick to like you don't really have to read anything. You can just infinite scroll and see images forever and they always update. There's always more. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. I see. Well, speaking of Australians, I noticed that Tim Minchin recently released or is about to release a new thing. Um, and I saw one of the music videos from it, and it's so good, but not not funny at all. Unlike his former stuff, which was all pretty silly, the new stuff seems to be a lot more serious. Okay, Sarah Milliken. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I think that one more sprint is probably good. And that'll mean we've been streaming. Let's see, we've been at this for about an hour and a half. I think one more sprint is good. Yes. I've got a few real life friends that I need to catch up with. All right. What do you think? A 15-minute sprint, a 20-minute sprint? What are we feeling? I don't really like the big face, tiny thing. I think I could probably do a 20-minute sprint. Yeah. All right, 20-minute sprint it is. And here we go. right. And we are back. Brandon, welcome. It's good to see you. Yes, you were a little bit late. That was our last sprint, and I think we'll say our goodbyes and probably call it quits in just a couple minutes here. Amy Lee, thanks for joining us. In case you're still here, I was glad to have someone to chat with and keep me company since Brandon wasn't here. All right. How did everyone do? Did you get something done? Did you get some reading done? I finished up my little flash fiction, my time machine thing. Ended up with 3 pages almost. Okay, 2.5 pages in my terrible, terrible handwriting. I have no idea how many words, and I am not going to try and count how many. Yes. Indeed. That's probably better than being catfished. I wouldn't mind if I looked like Raja, or if I looked more like her. When I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was 101 Dalmatians, and I just loved so much how all of the dog characters looked like all of the human characters. And I don't know, for a while I had my head shaved, and then I probably looked a little more like Raja because she had short hair too. I don't think I look like either of the cats though, which are off somewhere, probably doing something terrible again. Earlier I went in the music room, and not only had Elliot gotten in there, but he was sitting on top of the marimba, which costs as much of it as a car and is made from like endangered wood from Africa or something. The cat is not supposed to sit on the marimba, and it is, of course, his favorite place whenever he can get in there. All right, well, I've got a lesson to teach in about 30 minutes, so it's about time for me to get going. I'm glad that I got to be here and hang out with you guys. Aha. Yeah, still got a little ways to go. Baby Yoda! On that note, I'm thinking I will probably call it a night. Been going for an hour and 56 minutes. It's one of these days I will make Sean get in a video for me. I mean, I can play the marimba, I can make it make sounds, but Sean is the one who actually plays marimba and can make it make nice sounds. Yes, inquiring minds want to know. It might just be a sign that you need to get the fancy new one, the fancy typewriter-y keyboard. You'll have to keep us updated. All right, well, thank you for coming. I don't know if marimba is the same as drugs. I don't think the two are equivalent. I mean, they're not like mutually exclusive or anything. There have been marimba players who were on drugs, but I don't know who 122 is. Yes. We'll also bang on some Marias if we get the chance. All right, for real this time. I've enjoyed this. I hope that you guys have also enjoyed this. And let's see. I hope you're safe and I hope you're writing. Bye, guys.